In February 2026, United States and Israeli forces launched massive decapitation strikes against Iran. But while military analysis dominates the headlines, a silent crisis is unfolding on the waters of the Persian Gulf. Immediately following the offensive, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps issued stark radio warnings prohibiting vessel passage. They have effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical maritime energy choke point. This visualization of the Persian Gulf shows exactly what is bottled behind the blockade: 20 million barrels of crude oil per day, alongside 22% of the global liquefied natural gas, or LNG, supply. LNG is natural gas that has been cooled to a liquid state for easier storage and transport. This satellite map shows the physical reality of the strait. It is a highly constrained corridor, only 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Inside that gap, nearly 170 major commercial container ships carrying 450,000 TEU are currently trapped. A TEU, or 20-foot equivalent unit, is a standard measurement based on a single shipping container. This total paralysis has forced all 5 major global container lines to take drastic action. Carriers like MSC have suspended Middle East bookings entirely, ordering their vessels to seek immediate shelter and reroute cargo away from the region. Regional logistics hubs are freezing up. Operations have been severely disrupted at Kuwait's Shuaibah port, and here at Bahrain's Khalifa bin Salman port, maritime navigation has come to a total halt. For the ships still attempting to navigate this chaos, the financial toll is rising fast. War risk insurance premiums have spiked by 50%. Yet, as the blockade holds, every one of those backup plans is failing. The most obvious solution is to bypass the conflict zone over land. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have pipeline networks designed to move oil outside the Gulf. This chart compares the 20 million barrels typically flowing through the strait against the alternative. The Saudi and UAE bypass pipelines reach just 3.5 million barrels. That covers less than 17% of the flow. The remaining 83% is hopelessly trapped. If overland pipelines can't handle the volume, the next logical step for maritime traffic is to rely on other major global shipping corridors. But that option is already under threat. The closure of Hormuz coincides directly with the resumption of Houthi militant attacks on the Suez Canal and the Red Sea corridor. This satellite view of the Bab el-Mandeb corridor shows the second half of this shipping crisis. Combined with Hormuz, roughly 1/3 of all global seaborne crude trade is now physically blocked or under active military threat. The world's physical infrastructure is simply not built to handle the simultaneous loss of its 2 most critical maritime corridors. With transportation routes severed, you might expect global energy reserves to buffer the shock, especially for European countries heavily reliant on Middle Eastern natural gas. However, unlike crude oil, there is no coordinated global strategic reserve for natural gas. With European gas inventories at dangerous lows, the drop in supply threatens immediate, crippling spikes in industrial manufacturing costs and rolling electricity blackouts. That leaves one final failsafe: the hope that other oil-producing nations can pump more crude elsewhere to offset the blockade. While OPEC+, the global oil cartel consisting of 23 oil-exporting nations, quickly announced a production increase, their safety net has a fatal flaw. This map highlights the problem. Those spare capacity zones are all located upstream of the blockade. The backup oil is trapped behind the exact same closed Strait of Hormuz, making those promised production increases irrelevant. Overland bypass pipelines, alternate shipping routes, and emergency spare capacity. Every global safety net has been rendered useless by the geography of this conflict. This graph tracks the market reaction. Before the escalation, Brent crude was hovering near $70 a barrel. As traders priced in the blockade, it surged past $82. Analysts project it could reach $150 to $200 if the disruption persists. Asia faces the most acute risk. Roughly 84% of the crude oil transiting the strait is destined for the major economies of China, India, Japan, and South Korea, threatening a severe depression in regional economic growth. For those far from the Middle East, the full force of the crisis hasn't arrived yet. Global logistics operate on a 2 to 4 week supply chain lag, the time it takes for a disruption at the source to reach the end consumer. Because of this delay, the economic pain from the stranded tankers hasn't reached international shores. We are currently living in the gap between the event and the impact. Today, that cargo is stalled at the source. This aerial view of Dubai's massive Jebel Ali port gives you a sense of the immense volume of global goods currently disrupted, sitting idle in the heat of the Gulf. A sustained blockade will aggressively reinflate global inflation. It will force consumers worldwide to bear skyrocketing costs for fuel, heating, and nearly every transported good on the market. What began as a localized strike in 2026 has fractured the backbone of global commerce. The economic shockwaves are now moving toward international shores, and the true impact is only just beginning to make landfall.